all you have to do is place one dot, one by one pixel, and Unreal will read it and then convert it into a socket on the X and Y. You want to go to Edit, Project Settings, scroll all the way down into the Plugins folder, and you can see Ace2UE. And for this, you want your Aseprite path to be wherever your Aseprite software is installed. If you have it on Steam, it'll be in your Steam apps. So here you want to go to your Aseprite and you go to Manage and Browse Local Files. So after you copy the path, you could hit these three dots here, the path into your file explorer, and then you'll see the Aseprite.exe. Select that, click open. And once you're there, you're all set up. You could also have a default flipbook FPS where it's 12 or 8 is usually what I do, and you can also change the pixels per Unreal unit. And if you have smaller sprites like 16 by 16 or 32 by 32, I recommend making this 0.25, which is a fourth, which technically upscales small pixel art 4 times, which is about the perfect sweet spot for pixel art. And you can close this. While you're in the content browser, just right click, go to Ace2 and do Ace2 source, and I like to call it AS2 character 1. You are greeted with this config screen. What we're going to put here is the Aseprite file. So here I'm going to push the 3 dots. It's going to open it up. I'm going to paste my path, and I want to use this character. So before we get into importing the character, I want to show you how you set it up in Aseprite. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up my character. So before, you would have to manually place sockets. You have to pick where they are for each and every frame manually in Unreal Engine by like changing the coordinates, and this is really hard to do, especially when you have like really high quality animations and tons of different types of flipbooks or art pieces, and it is so time consuming. And so a way to save you hours of development time is when you are creating your character, all you have to do is place one dot, one by one pixel, and Unreal will read it and then convert it into a socket on the X and Y. And so what you do is you just create a new layer. And so I'll show you, for example, this red dot is the hand layer. You can call it socket for hand, and then hurt is a area where you can attach it for like detecting collision. If you want it to be on the body, you can put it there. And then you can also have sockets for cosmetics or limbs. So if you have character customization in your game, for my hand, you can see as the animations play, I place a dot. I just place a red dot. It doesn't matter what color you make it. As long as it's a 1 by 1 pixel, it will detect the socket and it'll place it. So you could place it, and then I have the hat, so you can see the hat location. It's on the top of his head. And you can also configure this and change the depth inside of Unreal too, just to add a little bit of assistance. But besides that, you're good to go. And the second you push save, this is good. So if you want, you're like, oh, the hat looks bad when it's right here, you can move this pixel over wherever you want and it'll detect it as soon as you hit save on Aseprite. So now for the export, all you do is get your Aseprite file. So I want to get this file here. And for the import destination, this is just for where you want this to be imported to. And it's kind of nice because then it creates the folders for you as well. And so you can just hit assets or wherever you want to put it. And you can also change the pivot mode. So that basically is wherever you want your character to be. So right now he's kind of in the middle, so I'll keep it center, but sometimes you do artwork down where your character's down here. And then that you would want to do bottom center. And sometimes you'd have a weapon where you'd want like center right, center left. You can choose. I also have the default material as the masklit sprite material. This is the most common material to use. It works with lighting, so you can have really cool dynamic lighting. The unlit sprite, I mean, obviously you could change it. But one thing I will recommend is for the sprite extraction to keep it to grid and make it the size of your canvas. So if you open your Aseprite file, you can see on the bottom, it's 80 by 80. So I'm just going to grab that and come back in here and change it from 32 to 80 by 80. And you can also select create flipbooks from tags. So if you're just importing a sprite, you don't need to do it. And but it will organize all your flipbooks for you. And also flipbook frames per second. You can set the speed. I'm going to hit 8. And you can also do frame durations. And what this does is each frame timing from Aseprite when building flipbooks. So turn it off if you want every imported frame to play at the same speed. This setting is import marker layers. And so this is basically a helpful tooltip of if you want to import sockets on your sprite. Importing, oh, do you want to import sockets? And you turn it off if you don't, and you turn it on if you do. And you can change this at any time too. So if you decide, oh, I want to add customization, I want to add a backpack to this character, you could totally do it. And you just turn it back on and re-import. And so I'm just going to turn this on. It basically creates a blueprint readable data asset from the hit, hurt, or socket marker data, and something that you can call, but the sockets are good enough, and it's only if you want to. It's just for extra data that you may or may not want, but it doesn't affect anything unless you want it. So yeah, you go ahead and hit import now, and so you'll get a little screen showing what was happening. So it basically is like, okay, there's 13 animations. It has a hurt box, socket, so it shows the hand, main, hat, just like the Aseprite file has. And that's the naming convention that you want to use as well. So socket underscore whatever you want, socket hat, socket hand, socket foot, whatever you want. You can even make it limbs too and have a base body. And as you can see, the sockets work accordingly. You can see that it's following, and I've also set up a test where you can attach the sword to the character. So as you can see, the sword is following the sockets of the character's hand. And how I did that, I just attached a component to component socket. I'm having a event show so that you could see that it's working. And so I basically grab the socket. So it's hit weapon start, hit weapon tip, because that's the socket names. And if you ever need to reference it, you can open up the flipbook and you can open the sword and you can see the sockets and you can see that they've been auto-populated in. And so that saves you so much time of moving around sockets and configuring them. And all it does, it gets the weapon start and the weapon tip. And so now you can see, if I simulate, you can see that this is the same size as the sword, and it attaches to the sockets. It moves around, it stays with the target, and I move it closer, and now you can see that it's actually hitting this character. Also, here's an example of one of the characters. I've attached a hat, so you can go, so I'm just gonna end. You can open the character, and you can see here that this hat is separate, and so all I did was add a component, and you parent it, so you just drag it under, so you could just go like flipbook, main character, and then name it to whatever you want, and attach it to the socket. So all I did for this hat is I grabbed the socket, you just hit this little folder icon, and you can choose whatever. So you could even do like hurt, and it snaps it to the hurt, and you could do the hand, snaps it to the hand, and then you could do the hat, which snaps to the hand socket. And it's pretty awesome because it saves you so much time before you had to manually move this transform around on each and every frame, and it took forever. So now you don't have to do this anymore, and you just, all you do is draw one red dot on each frame that you want this to exist, and you're good. Like, you're done. You just push save, and if you ever are like, oh, I don't like how far that is, I want it back here, all you do is do that and you hit save, and then you hit import, and it's done. You're good. You're good. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching.